Hey folks, this is Kalani. The public test realm finally became available, so we can now test patch 9.2, the last patch of Shadowlands and perhaps one of the most important patches of World of Warcraft's history. And from what I've seen so far, patch 9.2 actually looks good? Like really good, and for a bunch of different reasons too. I'm actually incredibly excited to see how this all comes together. So we're going to take a brief look at the new zone. We have some new tier set information to talk about. Raid testing has already started, and we might have a few clues about a potential release date. Let's start with the new zone, because I know a lot of players are interested to see what this magical alien land is going to look like. I still don't know if it really looks alien in the Warcraft universe, but they did a great job with the zone as a whole. It's very colourful and vibrant, and it looks like it could have been an Eden of sorts. I really love the layout of the zone too, with the different sections supporting this huge ring, which draws your focus to the big machine at its centre. This is going to be a much more pleasant zone to run around and explore when compared to the Maw or Korthia, in my opinion. The Maw was pretty dreadful and Korthia was very bland. Zereth Mortis looks miles better and the gameplay should be more interesting. We also know that we will be able to fly in this zone eventually, which is something the previous patch zones didn't allow for. It looks like there's going to be a strong focus on puzzles in general in the zone too. When you progress through the story a bit, one of the NPCs will give you example puzzles of what you might find throughout the zone. There's 3 examples: a light flipping puzzle where you have to turn all the lights out, a rune matching puzzle where you have to figure out a combo of matching or non-matching icons, and another one which seems like another type of light flipping puzzle, but you have limited tries, so it's all about efficiency. These are just the test puzzles right now, but I assume we'll see them out in the zone and we'll have to solve the puzzles to unlock stuff maybe. There is another puzzle of sorts that seems to encompass an entire hub of the zone. There are multiple runes that you can find and enable, as well as a power meter that you can charge by killing monsters in this area. This is where the language barrier will become a bit of a problem, because you can talk to some NPCs here and you can do things to get different results through trial and error, but you have no idea what you're saying or what they're saying or what's really going on here. So you'll have to progress through the cipher to understand what different areas of the zone are for and how you can use them to your advantage. And then we also kind of have a sneak peek at the Cipher of the First One system. You're not supposed to be able to look at this in-game just yet, which means it's probably not ready for testing, and everything here is most definitely a work in progress, but Wowhead has a preview of this new system, and it looks like the dev team made good on their promises. Even though there are a lot of different unlocks here, none of it seems tied to player power, and that means that if you don't really care about exploring Zereth Mortis and all of its nooks and crannies, you can probably ignore this stuff entirely. There appear to be 4 major sections of this new talent tree: Metrial, which deals with core systems, Aliac, which deals with console upgrades, Deliac, which is wildlife control, and Trebelim, which is for the Pocopoc upgrades. Wowhead has tables for what kind of upgrades you can unlock for each of these sections. I'll pop them up on screen for you to have a look at, and I'll also give you a link in the description below if you want to check them out for yourself. Bear in mind, the vast majority of this probably won't make any sense because we don't have a good grasp of what the foundations of these systems will be, but we can see that they upgrade different types of gameplay, whether that's unlocking new things to explore in the zone, new types of content to interact with, finding new treasures and rewards, or even turning your little robo friend into a death machine. All in all, there seems to be a lot of customization options for the new zone and your new tiny automa friend. None of these unlocks seem to carry over into any other area of the game though, so you're not going to get any bonuses to your character power to take into dungeons or raids or PvP. It's all encapsulated in the zone, which is going to be very interesting. On one side, there's no pressure forcing you down one path, or really any path at all, so you can do what you want with this system when you want and how you want to, but if there's no big tangible reward to work to at the end, I wonder if that means the majority of players will just ignore the system for the most part. Personally, I'm still going to tinker around with it because I think it has the potential to be a fun side system, but what do you think? Do you think these systems should increase your player power no matter what, or would you rather they be separated from player power entirely? Let me know in the comments below. We also have a better look at how the tier sets and set bonuses are going to work. If you're curious about testing them out or playing around with them, you can buy the tier sets from a vendor in Ouroboros on the PTR and go to town. Being able to test the tier sets will give us a better idea of which talents interact with the bonuses and which ones don't, and we can gauge just how powerful the tier set effects could be. It also lets us test whether or not the sets actually work and work well with how a class plays on live servers, so we can give feedback as early as possible to ensure that when this patch goes live, everyone has a tier set they can actually look forward to. On that note, the dev team have said already that quite a few tier sets are going to be reworked entirely or partially. The Shadow Priest set will be getting changed to focus on Devouring Plague instead of Dark Thoughts. The Restoration Druid 2 set and 4 set bonuses will be reworked in a future PTR build. The Mistweaver Monk 4 set is currently bugged and should be fixed in the future. The Brewmaster 4 set will be completely redesigned, and the Restoration Shaman 2 set and 4 set bonuses will be reworked in a later build as well. So a lot of large changes happening to the tier sets already, and we've only just started testing the PTR. Most of these changes seem to be directly related to community feedback as well, so maybe they are finally listening. And then the last bit of new info we got relating to set bonuses is that there are 5 items in each set: head, shoulders, chest, gloves, and legs. So you need to equip 4 of those items to get your 4 set bonus, which could end up conflicting with certain legendary slots you might be looking at. With how flexible the new legendary item is going to be, that particular one shouldn't be a worry, but it's still something to take into account. The big missing piece of information for set bonuses right now is which bosses they come from in the raid. None of the bosses have a loot table just yet, so until that's in the PTR we won't know which bosses drop which slots of tier and for which classes. It could be all over the place, so we'll have to wait and see. Something very interesting about this PTR cycle so far is just how early the dev team has started the raid testing. The PTR was up for 1 day, just 1 day before the first bosses became available for testing. I don't think you could really start any quicker than that. There are 11 bosses in this raid, so they have a lot to test, but the patch usually goes through a lot of groundwork stuff before the raid is tested. If they're testing bosses this early, does that mean they're further ahead in the development of 9.2 than usual? That's very exciting if so. That could either mean a shorter PTR cycle and an earlier patch release date, or it could mean a more testing focused PTR cycle where there's actually enough time to iterate on feedback. Wouldn't that be grand? Both results are improvements either way you look at it, and it could mean the PTR updates could come very quickly as the weeks progress. A quick side note on the raid testing: the raid looks pretty awesome so far. There's 2 very distinct biomes that we'll be exploring, the grand designs of the first ones and a more desolate sandy area which might have been neglected. The bosses seem simple so far but fun, with no majorly annoying mechanics that you'll want to stop DPS for. We'll be previewing each boss as it becomes available for testing, so stay tuned for those videos. Another really nice thing to see in this PTR build is the addition of story skips. I've been harping on about this for a while now, but I really think WoW needs to embrace more account-wide progress, especially when it comes to story. It looks like they're trying at the very least, because once you've completed the first 3 chapters of the new patch, and basically been introduced to the zone and the first set of systems, you will then be able to skip through all 3 of those introductory chapters on other characters. They'll let you get your ult straight into the good stuff, so story skips are going to be available in 9.2 right from the get-go, just like in Korthia, which is great to see. So, how are things looking so far overall? I would say pretty good, considering this is the first public build for the PTR. I'm interested in seeing how they flesh out and fill in the Zereth Mortis zone. It's a bit empty at the moment, but we don't have access to any of the systems properly, so that's no surprise. The zone itself looks really cool though, and we haven't run into any major problems or bugs or issues. The bones are definitely there, and they're looking pretty good, but this patch will hinge on the systems, I think, so the testing cadence of those systems is going to be very important. The sooner we see the systems and can interact with and test them, the better the PTR cycle will flow. The raid testing already being underway gives me hope that the dev team might be pretty far along internally, and with most PTR cycles lasting less than 3 months, that could put patch 9.2's release schedule somewhere around late February or early March, which would also line up with the delayed Sylvanas book, which is coming out late March. They probably want to give the patch a bit of breathing room so the story quests can catch up to where the Sylvanas book starts, so late Feb or early March is looking very likely. But that's how the 9.2 PTR is shaping up so far. What do you think from what you've seen? Do you like the overall look of the zone? How do you feel about there being lots of puzzles to solve, and what are you most looking forward to in patch 9.2? Leave all your thoughts in the comment section below. A big thank you to all of our supporters over on Patreon and to everyone who's subscribed on Twitch. You can see their names floating by on screen. If you want to see more videos like this, make sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell so you never miss another video. Thanks for watching, folks. Good luck and have fun, and as always, I'll see you next time.